What's happening, everybody? Steve here, and today you are going to experience a VR 360 look at the 2022 Ford Mustang EcoBoost. This is going to be the interior of the Mustang, and this thing looks absolutely beautiful. If you're new to VR video, all you're going to do is make sure you go to the highest quality available first. So there's that little tab, go to the highest quality, which is 5.7K. If you're on your cell phone, you've got the flexibility to scroll through using your finger. If you're using the YouTube app, you can also just rotate your phone, but that can be a little bit dizzying, but it's available as an option. If you're on your desktop, you can just go full screen. You can do a little zoom using your mouse wheel, and then you can also just take your mouse in order to look around the screen itself and look around 360 as we go. But this thing looks absolutely amazing. Now this specific one is the High Performance Pack EcoBoost, so it's the 201A as well, which gives us this fully digital dash. So we've got a 12.3-inch digital cluster screen, which is unbelievable. But if you're looking for a walkthrough on the steering wheel cluster or the media screen for the vehicle, check down below because I've already put together some crazy comprehensive videos that go through everything you need to know. But let's go through some of the basics. Because this is a GT Premium and the packages this one has, we've got some seat memory buttons, so 3 individual profiles to remember our seat, strictly for forwards, backwards, up and down. Adjusting our backrest is a manual process, so just by our left side there on the driver, so we can go forwards, backwards as necessary. The headrest is a 4-way adjust, so we can go up and down with it, but we can also click it forward, so if you want to, you can create a little bit of extra stability for your neck if you need it. The steering wheel is amazing. Stick on the left-hand side gives us the flexibility to turn on the lane keeping system, which is part of the Ford Copilot 360 package. And we've got the Ford Safe and Smart package on top of that, which gives us a lot of other neat features. Now the stick on the right-hand side is going to give us the flexibility to adjust what's going on with our windshield wipers. And then pad on the left-hand side is going to be our volume rocker. We can change between songs or radio stations. At a minimum, we will also have regular cruise control, but this one, because of that Safe and Smart package, also has the adaptive cruise control system. Now, one thing to note, this thing has adaptive cruise, but it's also the 6-speed manual transmission, so I don't know if I would personally use the adaptive cruise. I do occasionally use regular cruise control in my 6-speed, but it's going to be a matter of preference there. But it is available as an option if you want it. Now, as I mentioned, this is the 6-speed manual. If we had the 10-speed automatic transmission, high performance pack, we would also have paddle shifters there, which are amazing. So we have great flexibility there. Inside of the steering wheel, the very middle, we've got our pony badge, which looks beautiful. It's very different, very stark comparison to what we're going to find in the front and back end of the Mustang. It looks very different. It looks nice all at the same time. We've got a few different pads on the right-hand side. So first one is going to let us adjust what's going on with the cluster screen. We've got a voice command prompt, lets us change songs, radio stations, navigate using our voice. We've got some other great options. A big one being our pony mode, which, because this one's got the 12.3-inch screen, gives us the flexibility to change out the colors of the screen so we can customize the look, the layout, the colors. This one also has the active valve performance exhaust, which sounds unbelievable. But the exhaust sounds, if you want to know what that sounds like for the EcoBoost or the GT, check down below, but it is amazing. Now, a few other things to point out. Well, like I said, we can change the color of not only the screen, but also of the ambient light. So it's in the driver door handle, in the cup holders, and then just by the pedals. And we've got the flexibility to change it out to make it our own unique color, which is amazing. Now the dash and the basic highlights inside of this thing are great. This is the Ebony interior for the vehicle. So we've got our black seats with our white stitching, which we can make out there. And that white stitching carries through across the dash, which looks fantastic. Because of the packages this one has, we've got our upgraded Bang & Olufsen sound system, which is incredible. Let's actually fire this thing up a little bit in order to give you I'll put it into accessory mode just so you can hear what it sounds like. But it is really, really nice. And as this thing is starting up, so a few things to point out. We do have our vents, basic vents, because this is the EcoBoost. We do also have our oil pressure and then our vacuum gauge on top of that. Now this sync media screen, as this pony's kind of lighting up here, gives us the flexibility for factory navigation because of this package. And then we also have the option of getting it if we don't have the 201A. But even if your Mustang doesn't have factory nav, we do have the flexibility of using Google Maps, Apple Maps, or Waze directly through this screen, which is amazing. So all we have to do is connect through either Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and it's literally set to go. We've got a USB port there, so we just need to plug in order to be able to do it. But series of different options that are available there. But this thing's great. We've got our heated steering wheel as an option there. We've got our audio, which, let's tune this way. 94.9 FM.
Tuning to FM 94.9.
Perfect. Okay, listen to this. right. Amazing band, amazing song, amazing sound. And that wasn't even turned up the full way. So the sound that you can get out of this thing is absolutely amazing. I love it. Love it. Inside of the base system, it's just the base vehicle. It's a 6-speaker setup instead. And that still sounds pretty good in and of itself. But if you want better sound out of this thing, you could do something aftermarket or just go right from the factory, get the upgraded B&O sound system, which, as you heard there, sounds unbelievable. Now, we do also have our volume rocker. We've got our tuning rocker. Because this is the premium version of the Mustang, we also do have heated and ventilated front seats. So inside of the cloth, so the base 100 and the 101 Mustang, we wouldn't have the ventilated as an option whatsoever. It would be a cloth interior for the seats. Because we're in the premium, we've got a leather, series of different color choices that are available. We can look at our Recaro Performance seats on top of that if we want to. But we have a series of different climate control settings available. Dual zone climate control inside of this. I would turn that off quickly because it's toasty outside. And then because we are, well, the Mustang, it is push button start. And that's regardless of whether we're in the EcoBoost or in the GT. It doesn't matter if you're in the 10-speed or the 6-speed. It's always going to be push button start. Now we do also have, if you want to kind of take a peek down a little bit, we do have these toggle switches. So a series of different switches that we're going to find in the 101 EcoBoost and above, and then the 301 GT and above. So they are great because, yeah, we can turn on our four-way blinkers and turn traction control on and off, but we can also change out our steering mode. So we've got normal, comfort, and sport steering, and then a series of different drive modes, which are amazing. We've got our normal sport mode, we've got track mode, drag mode, and then snow and wet mode on top of that. In each mode, we'll do something different. Like it'll change up the dynamic look of the screen because we're in the 201 EcoBoost, but it also changes up the dynamics of the ride. Because when we're in the sport mode, it's going to hold on to the RPMs a little bit longer just to give us a more sportier performance. Very different than when we're in the wet or the snow mode, and that's going to play with our traction and stability control to help with wheel slippage and things like that. But there are so many different options that are available when you go for the option with the toggle switches inside of this thing. You could look at maybe doing something aftermarket to get those switches, but the cost of it is just ridiculous. If you think you might want it, go for it right from the ordering from the factory. It's a couple bucks more, but you can finance it if you need to. There are a lot of different options that are available. If it's kind of pushing your budget a little bit, look for a model that might be a year or two old instead, just so that you can get exactly what you want. Now, as we start to move down from this though, we've got a USB port there, 12-volt power point. This is the 6-speed manual transmission, so we've got our 6 main gears. We do also have our reverse gear, so we've got to lift up and shift out in order to get to that reverse gear. We've got our parking brake that's going to be manual across the entire Mustang lineup. As we start to move down, we've got some cup holders there that also do feature the ambient light, so we can change it out as necessary directly through this cluster screen. And then we also do have a little armrest that's got 2 more power points, so another USB port, and then there's a 12-volt power point back there as well. Now, as we start to move up overhead, so this specific one, we don't obviously have the control for the sunroof, or for the sunroof. You're never going to get a sunroof in the Mustang. We don't have the option for the convertible. So we would normally have a handle there if we were in the convertible. Because this is the Fastback, we've got just a hard top as an option. We've got our base cabin control lights there. We've got our home links, or garage door opener there. Little visor, so we've got our visor with our vanity mirror there. We've got some lights on the side, little business card holder, and this will cover off everything that might be hitting your eyes. So I'm 6 feet tall, and like this, there's no way anything's hitting my eyes if there's bright sun to the left-hand side. But this is nice overall. The seat is really comfortable. With the seat down as far as it'll go, I've got about 3.5 roughly inches of headspace. So 3.5 inches of space up overhead. So taller people, you may not be able to fit in the Mustang okay, unless you're kind of like back and driving like this. But I mean, if you're taller, you're probably used to that anyways. But overall styling inside of this thing is great. Comfort is great. In the back seat there, we actually do have the option of folding the back seats down if we're in the Fastback. So the back seats are never going to be foldable if you're in the convertible. Strictly going to be available as an option when we get into the Fastback version of the vehicle. But overall styling inside of this thing is great. Like I said, we do have a back seat where those seats can fold down, so you can kind of see it there. But I want to show you something. I'm going to show you how we can get into the back seats and what happens when I do. So right along the side, we can just pull the one. So the one we're going to use to adjust our backrest, we can pull that if we want to in order to go forward. But we also have the option, there's a lever just behind our driver's seat and the passenger side where we can lift that in order to bring the seat forward on top of that. But with the seat up, back seat up there, oh Oh my goodness. Oh, this is tight. This is ridiculous. All right. So I am 6 feet tall, and this is me standing straight upright. So hold on, let me flip you a bit. So I'm 6 feet tall, and this is me literally upright right now. So I have got next to no headroom up here. So it's like a teeny little bit uncomfortable for me. So if you're a little bit taller, could you sit back here? Maybe. If you're okay kind of driving like this, because if the seat was back, this is just not comfortable whatsoever. But if push came to shove, you needed to get people back here, you absolutely could. I'd probably just be laying back here like this instead, like, help me. If you're like the Fly, like Jeff Goldblum style right now, it's kind of ridiculous. But I mean, you have kids that are younger, they'll be able to fit back here, shorter friends, whatever the case may be. Or if people drew the short straw, you just don't like them, you could technically get 4 people in this vehicle if you really needed to. But one cool thing, if you've got kids, we do also have our latch system. So anchors and tethers and things like that. So you can have front-facing, rear-facing child seats inside of this thing, and they'll be able to fit. Rear-facing, a little bit tight. Front-facing, not going to be able to have any issues getting a child in the vehicle whatsoever. But overall comfort and styling this thing, it's actually not too shabby. Like, even though I can barely fit in the seat, it's got a decent amount of cushion to it. I wouldn't want to go on crazy long distance trips in it, but it is there as an option. One thing to point out, inside of the Mustang Mach-1, we do have the option for a rear seat delete. So if you're going to be taking it on the track, you've got that option directly from the factory. And then obviously if you're doing it aftermarket yourself, you can just rip these seats out if you really need to.